This is a judgment-free zone. I will speak no further on this. Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Shawn Levy, is finally the first full-fledged screen adaptation for these two characters teaming up to fight the forces of evil. This is going to be the spoiler-free edition of this movie review, and unfortunately, it's going to mean it's going to be really, really hard to talk about. However, I will discuss the things that are only in the trailers, so if you have stayed away from any of the promotional footage from this film, any of like the actual physically, like this is Disney saying this is what we are releasing to the public, no leaks, no nothing. Anything that was in for public display and public advertisement will be talked about in this review. Anything else will be off the tables. So you are safe here if you at least watch the trailers, but if you want to go in completely blind, I would still probably suggest not watching this review. But fair warning, this is still, for the most part, a spoiler-free review. To kick things off, let's just stick with the two people that we came to see this movie for. Ryan Reynolds performs as the character Wade Wilson, or Deadpool yet again, and it is fantastic. The suit looks better than it did in the first two movies. That's that Disney budget for you. And the jokes are just as rated R as they would have been before. A lot of people had some speculation about this movie being rated R and not being allowed to kind of do the things that they were originally going to do or hopefully could have done in the Fox sort of universe. That is put to rest. This is a fully fledged rated R film. If you do not think so, it is very much clear from the beginning of this movie how rated R they are going to get. Ryan Reynolds puts on a fantastic performance per usual, but the main thing I want to talk about is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. If you're not familiar, throughout this entire run of the X-Men movies that I've been reviewing, Hugh Jackman is my everything. He is awesome. I love him as his character. I just love him as an actor in general, and this is the movie I think everyone's been wanting to see as far as like the comic accurate look at Logan from the very beginning. Now, Logan the movie was a nice send-off for the character and my favorite movie, one of the best comic book movies ever made, but there was always that little bit of what if? Like, we didn't get the Deadpool movie that we wanted with him at the time. We didn't get the classic yellow suit that he would wear from the TV show and the comics, so there was a lot left to be on the table, and this movie gives us all of that. These two actors felt like they were born to play these characters. Their dynamic with each other is so amazing. I loved seeing the fights that they did because it is such a bloody and gory mess between the two of them. It is awesome to see throughout. And that goes hand in hand with the direction, honestly. Shawn Levy did a fantastic job with the direction for all of the fight scenes that were in this movie, but he also understood the characters and gave the emotional beats a lot for them. I think that there were many moments in this movie where I got in the feels a little bit personally. I was just like, yes, this is, everything that I want to hear. This is everything I want to see. It is being done so well here. And that also leads to Emma Corrin, who plays Cassandra Nova in this movie. She is a fantastic villain in this. I think her menacing kind of tone throughout the entire film is amazing. I genuinely love this performance. There really is not many negatives I could say about this whatsoever. The evil sarcasm that she does is great, and some of the effects that they do with her powers is also awesome to see. And the cameos, by God, the cameos in this film, obviously not going to spoil anything here, but what you see in the trailer, they really hid so much stuff that they could have done in this movie. Like, I mean, it is baffling to see, on the screen, like, oh, he's here. Oh, he's here. Like, oh my God, like, all these people are here. What the hell is going on? The film as a whole is fan service to the max, and I think that that's what's lost in translation a lot of the days when it comes to these comic book movies. There is the idea of, like, yes, you need to make a good story and make people care for the characters, but there's also that little bit of everybody that's just like, man, I'm a fan, so just service the fans, really. That's what the line that's being thrown around a lot nowadays. I'm a fan, so service me. And that's exactly what this film was. Everything that you would have wanted is right here for the taking. And as much as I'm gushing about this movie, and I absolutely positively love this film, there are some negatives that I will say here. For starters, I will say that the pacing of this film is a bit off in some instances. You do get a ton of great stuff with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds playing as these characters, and that stuff is genuinely great. However, The other stuff that kind of goes along with this movie, especially the third act, kind of draws out a little bit, and that also coincides with a bit of the villain's sort of motivation for this film. It's pretty generic at points, and it's pretty bland, so it's not the most creatively fulfilling thing in the world, but a lot of the fan service stuff, a lot of like the action sequences, and just obviously Wolverine and Deadpool being on screen together really clears up any of sort of the negatives that I would have in this film. But another thing I will say about this, and this is slightly touching a tinge of the spoiler stuff, so I would say skip ahead slightly for this portion, but I will say Kevin Feige did an interview recently where he was talking about how the scale of importance for Marvel was Endgame was at a 10 out of 10 as far as like how important it was going to change the dynamic of the franchise at this point. Infinity War is at a 9. This film was heralded as it's about an 8 out of 10 as far as the importance of it to the MCU. And after the film is over, it doesn't quite feel like that. It feels like a more along the lines of like maybe a 5 or a 6. It kind of feels very middle of the road outside of the idea of just bringing in, Deadpool to the MCU. Outside of that, there really isn't a ton here that felt like it was like shifting the magnitude of Marvel for the most part. It felt like it wanted to, but in the execution of it, it didn't come through at points. But this is exactly what Marvel needed, however. This film needed to get fans back into the theater and thinking that Marvel is on the right track, really. With all the stuff that they had with like Kang, from Jonathan Majors and all of the drama that had gone along with him, and the perception of a lot of these movies that have been bad, while some of them I don't think are as bad as people say, the jokes that they make about this film, about Marvel being at a pretty, slump right now, it's, warranted. Marvel has not put out a ton of great products lately, and this film needed to be great in order for them to kind of be like, yes, we've got to win, and we've got some momentum rolling forward into the next couple of projects that we're going to be doing. Is this a perfect movie? In my film snob and sort of like really analytically looking at this, no, it's not. There are things that can be improved on this film. However, as somebody who grew up with the X-Men movies, who grew up with these characters, this is about as perfect as I wanted it to be. Once again, if I was putting on the analytical and really dissecting and analyzing this movie, the rating would probably be slightly lower, but I don't care. This is my review, and this is how I feel, and I love these characters to death. So I'm going to give Deadpool and Wolverine 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go down below on all these socials where I have my Twitter, where I tell you stuff about movies on there, TikTok, where we talk about more about movies, and Letterboxd, which is literally designed to be talking about movies. Look forward to the next review that I have coming up on here, which will probably be New Mutants. We're going to be talking about that and completely finish off the X-Men sort of catalog, and then I'll also give my ratings for the movies, including this very movie. I'll also be coming back here with a bit more of a spoiler video, but I'll kind of hold off on it just for a little bit, just to let everybody kind of go out and see it and digest the awesomeness that was Deadpool and Wolverine. Take it easy, guys, and I will talk to you all next time.